Hi, Amelie. How are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Hi. Nice that you take the time to be with us. Amelie
Nice.
is a social worker in the City Hall of Regensburg Youth Support Services. We had quite some contact points during the project CiSoTRA. Amelie works for the consultancy Poor Pupil Refugee. We have a number of other good practice videos about this consultancy on our portal. And Amelie also featured in our quite popular video on stabilization factors. The special topic we want to talk about today is that you found out that young women have some difficulties um, in enjoying your consultancy. So you set up a special project. So can you tell me a little bit about the special needs of young women in this context?
Of course. So I work with the project POOR, which means pupil refugees, and we're located at a local school. We have girls and boys in the age between 15 and 25, and we guide them in whatever they need. So the reason why I started that special project for the girls is because that I figured out that, especially for the girls, they often have problems to get counseling, like to get into contact with us. The
Why
main
is
reason,
that? Why
sorry?
is that?
So the main reasons are we all know that when you have problems, we often feel ashamed of them. And this is not their, mostly it's not their culture that they have much counseling organizations in their country. So for them, it's even harder to come to us. Also, the girls, they have mostly more family obligations than boys do have. So for girls, when they're out of school, they have um, duties to do. They have to cook, maybe take care of their siblings, do some other things. For guys, it's much more easier to come to us after school.
Mhm.
So there are various reasons why it's harder for girls than for boys to come. So that's why I started the project. And the special thing of this project is that it's in the school time. So,
Okay,
so the girls have access to the project and to counseling.
cool. So what is about the proportion of young women overall among the pupils who come to poor?
Normally, it's around 30% girls in
Okay.
classes, but it's actually rising.
Uh-huh.
So the first year it was about 30%, but right now it's a bit more, like I would say about 35% girls.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but to Germany, there come around 42% of women.
Uh-huh.
So this is a group we oversee it sometimes.
Are there girls also among the unaccompanied minors?
Yes.
And it's what is the proportion there? Because the classical image of the unaccompanied minor often are young boys fighting through their escape routes.
So for them, it's mostly the same reason as for boys. But what's also special for girls is that there are many sexual violations in their countries. In some wars, systematic rape is used also as slavery and to sell women. So this is another reason why these groups would come.
Okay. Sad to hear.
It is.
So what is the setup of your consultancy?
So since I'm going to the classes and take the girls with me, it's also not as shameful for them because they come in a group and I don't pick them as like an individual. So they seem, for them it seems like it's about the group, it's just for the girls, so it's something special for them too, and they are proud to join my project because the boys, they have to stay in class and they have to go on with their studies. So for them it's not like a shameful experience. For them it's something they can be proud of because they're girls, they get the opportunities, the boys, they don't. So the structures are that it's a very, for them, it's a very safe and trustful environment where we are. And it is in small groups. It's around 4 to 6 girls. Sometimes it's even less. It belongs on how many girls are in classes. And it's for around 1.5 hours.
Cool. So in general, what's your idea? What is the goal, or what are the aims of this group work?
So the main goal of that project is empowerment. The young women should be strengthened in their personal development, and what they bring already into the group, their resources and their personality, this is the orientation for how I set up the whole topics and so on, what they need. It's their own self-determination, what I try to lead. Yeah. So it's all about empowerment and strengthening their skills.
Cool. And so what are typical formats for working with the young women? What are you doing in the group?
We have different topics. The first topic I normally start with are legal issues. We do human rights. We go through some laws just for women in Germany. Also, how to protect them, because for some girls, they have problems with violence in their homes. So I give them just the information about the options they have for these cases. The second topics are mostly that they do self-reflection, we do role models, we reflect the society, because they come from a totally different culture and society than we do have, and they have a double role in being a woman. They have the role from their country, and they have the role where we have in Germany. And the last topic is mostly sex education.
Okay, that could be a little bit complicated. Can you tell us a bit about that? None? Okay.
Actually not. So the girls at the beginning, they're mostly very shy about that topic. But the longer we talk about it, there pop up many questions, like questions I sometimes have to a little bit smile about, because they're like, for us, they're so normal, but for them, they've never talked about it, or mostly never talked about those topics because they're taboo topics. But it really helps them to have the control of the body. Also, when it comes to safer sex and how to protect birth control and so on. Some of the girls, they don't know even why they have the menstruation. So those are all topics which gives them more control over the body and to understand also themselves.
Cool. I understand that the group is from a mixed background. So how does that reflect in your group work? Is it a intercultural or transcultural experience also among the girls? So not only with the German society, but also from their own different backgrounds?
Of course, because it is who they are. Like every culture shapes us. So I don't want to put them into the German culture. I want them um, to be their self and to find their place wherever they're comfortable with. Also, that means to understand the other girls and where they come from.
Mhm. And in this process, do the aspirations of the young women somehow change, or their own perspective, what they want to do or what they can do in Germany, or with
Yeah,
their
that's
own lives? Is it kind of life projects changing in a way?
it is, and it's pretty cool to see their changes. Sometimes it's like it seems like something little or small. They go back into classes, and I also get a lot of feedback from the teachers that they are more there in the classes, like they're more present in the classes, which is pretty cool. But also some girls, they're at the beginning, like I asked them like at the second topic, where do you see yourself like in 5 or 10 years? And at the end of the project, at the end of the year, I asked them again, and sometimes it's changed completely. Like a girl told me last year, like she want to have a family, she want to have kids, she want to get married. She was like 17, and after 1 year, she told me no, she want to become this and that, and that was so cool to see. What kind of impact all those options and topics have on the girls.
Okay, good. You said she was 17, so this project is about the transition from
Yes.
this unaccompanied minor status to getting into adult life, so where you have to make all of these decisions. So how does this reflect for young women? Is this also a quite sharp break in their lives, that they have to apply for asylum, that their status is more unsafe, that they have to find housing and so on their own? Did you talk about this break also in the group?
This is also a topic we talk about in self-reflection. There is also a lot about puberty and how it changed that they actually had the break to flee into another country, because this shapes a lot. We all know when we're in puberty, when we're teenagers, we actually need a lot of guidance, and this is such a sensitive time. So for these girls, it's even more difficult to go through all of that because of what they experience and from where they come from. Like, not only that their body is changing and the way they think about everything, also where they are in the world has changed. Their environment, the society, everything has changed. So nothing is the same. For them, it's a very it's a time they don't like it's very unsure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course, this is the topic we talk about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there a kind of tendency that women are more protected legally than men? So in general, we talk about that it's so hard because you have to go through this asylum procedure. Is it does the special threats, or the especially dangerous situation for women, does this mean that in Germany in general they are a little bit more safe versus the men? Is this considered in the asylum process?
Um, for many of them, it doesn't seem like that, because they have the experience of their government and their structures and the police. So they don't even consider that much that they get protection as a woman in a different kind of way
Mm-hmm.
as in their country.
Okay. Okay, so Amelie, if you could give our European colleagues some bullet points about what you find useful for your group of young women, if you could condense it a little bit. So what would these main points be?
So what was a plus was that I'm not much older than these girls. I'm 26, and the oldest girl I had was 23. The youngest was 15. So it was easier to build a certain level of trust much more faster than my colleagues. Also, we had similar topics. Being a woman in Germany, it's not just about being a refugee woman or a young refugee woman, it's also about being a woman in Germany, because this also comes with a lot of struggles. There is still sexism, there is still catcalling, and these are all topics the girls deal here as well. So in these topics, I understand them better than because I experience it every day when I go out than my colleagues. So we have a lot in common. So that was a major plus. The trusts and the topics. I really try to orientate all the topics of by the needs of the girls. So sometimes I have to be very flexible because it changed like within the 1.5 hours that I prepared the topic, but then it pops up something. And yeah, I have a very big network of other organizations and other counseling offices, also to my colleagues from Pure. So they're very helpful with like topics I actually can't handle within the project. For example, last year we had a girl, it got forced engaged, something like that. I need help from my colleagues. So the network is really important. Yeah, and to be open, listen to them, because that's what I'm there for, to listen to them and to see them, because they bring with so many resources, and sometimes we forget about these resources, what they bring with, but there are so many, there are plenty of them.
Cool. And what can we as a society, or what can women in Germany do to be inclusive versus these young women without being paternalistic? So in our general framework of the CiSoTRA project, our model, we talk about the phase of immersion in the society. So what would NGOs or sports clubs or other organizations, what do they have to do to be more open and inclusive? Or is this too big a step also for the young women?
I don't think it's the step would be too big. I think sometimes we have to change the structures we have known for so long a little bit for those girls, because they have different circumstances from German girls or girls who are just like very in that German culture. And I think that's like a big point, because if we would change some structures, we actually would give them more access to different opportunities.
How would that look like? How would the structures have to change?
That's an interesting question. For example, with the headscarf, that's still a main topic. So many girls, they get rejected from so many other projects or organizations, or also to do an internship or whatever to get a job just because of a headscarf. And that's the first, it's not legal. Second, we teach the girls something with that.
I'm thinking about the fields where I'm active. So for example, sports clubs, or what do you think? Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. What other areas are they? What are young women typically doing? So as a pastime, I mean, they come out of a struggle for their lives, more or less. Is kind of pastimes or hobbies, is this a topic for them, or are they very focused on family and learning? And
so this is also in topic 2 when we talk about self-reflection and society and so on. But most girls, they actually don't have any topics. Like in my project, I can't talk about other girls, but I can talk about these girls. And most of them, they would say that they cook, but then it's for the family. So it doesn't bring them joy. So I wouldn't say it's a hobby. So this is something we try to work on, to find something for them what they actually enjoy. But then they also tell me a lot about that they're not allowed to be out. There are sometimes the family structures are not open for hobbies outside.
Yeah. Also, those who come as an unaccompanied minor, do they have a tendency, due to your observation, to re-enter family structures? Or are there life stories of women who really live singular, or is there a tendency to really, as quickly as possible, enter family structures or marry or something like that?
So for most of these girls, they are actually very self-dominated. They actually find out very fast what they want to, and they focus mostly on their education, and that they want to have a job. Like that's a huge difference from the other girls who comes in family. In a family, it is different from them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And are they able to find an apartment, or what support structures do they build for themselves? I mean, are there kind of peer groups of women of this kind of setup or orientation who want to make a career as a independent woman and something like that? Yeah.
So mostly they have a bigger peer group. Also more like to be with other refugees. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what kind of role models evolve here in the girls' community over a longer frame of time somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. Okay, so are there some final messages that we should mention, or have we forgotten something?
So I think this kind of group, girls, refugee girls in their puberty, is a group we easily oversee. Also because we think sometimes that the circumstances of the girls are not fitting into the way we know to give them access to counseling options. So that's why I changed the structure. And it's a game changer. like the girls have access, and it changed a lot for them.
Cool. Thank you. And
You're welcome.
good luck for your
Thank you.
follow-up projects.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.